Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today, we're just going to be talking about something simple. We're going to be talking about distance versus displacement. So essentially, these are like very, very important topics in the realms of calculus and physics. But they get even deeper as the material like gets harder. So I just wanted to make like a quick video about it because I was bored and I was bedrotting and I'm supposed to go to the gym, but my watch is in charge. So I'm just like, but anyway, this is distance. Distance is essentially just like the total amount of distance you travel, like total amount you traveled. While displacement is how much you changed. Now, guess what? It might sound like it's very, very similar. However, these are very, very different topics. And the best way to explain this is with a little line. So this is point A and this is point B. And let's say you're in your little car. This is a car, boom, that's you in the car. And then the point from A to B is 50 miles. Now let's say you go to point B and then you return back to point A. Distance is very, very easy to calculate because since you traveled from point A to point B, then you travel from point B to point A, you essentially travel those 50 miles the same. So the total distance traveled is 100 miles. Because you traveled 50 miles plus 50 miles. Now guess what? Since displacement is how much you changed, our total displacement is going to be 0 miles. The reason why that is because you didn't change anything at all. You went from point A to point B, but then you traveled back to point B to where you started to point A. So you didn't change anything at all with your displacement. That means that you didn't have any change at all, some might say. And this is really, really important when talking about, position. Eventually when you get to like S of t, then V of t, then A of t, which respectively stand for position, velocity, and acceleration in calculus or in physics, is very, very important to know the concept. And so this might be like another example. So let's say you had A, B, then the C in the middle. So let's say from point A to point B, it's 10 miles. And then let's say that C is the midpoint. So this is 5 miles from each end. So let's say you're in your car. And then you travel to point B. And then you travel to point C. So assuming we're trying to find distance again first, the total distance is just going to be everything summed. So essentially, we're just going to have 10 miles plus 5, which is equal to 15 total miles traveled. However, since displacement is the change in that, we're going to say that first the change was 10 miles. But then since you're traveling back to point C from point B, you have to subtract 5 miles because that's how much you're negating the change essentially. So essentially your total displacement is just 5 miles. Simply because displacement is trying to find the change or how much you changed in that distance. Distance is kind of like the absolute value of displacement. Distance is just how much you traveled in general. It's like an absolute unit. Displacement, however, it's very, very different. Displacement is just how much you changed, and it's like if you were born in the same hospital. If you were born in this hospital, right? So let's say this is the hospital. And then, you travel, this is your life, yada, yada, yada. And then you die at the same hospital. Your total displacement is 0. And it might sound dark, but it makes sense because you didn't have any change at all. You went back to the same place, therefore, you didn't have any displacement at all. However, the total distance here, I don't know how much it is, but you had a lot of distance between your life and your death. So your distance here is just a random number, and it could be anything. So this is essentially the difference between distance and displacement. Distance is just trying to find the total amount of area covered, while displacement is trying to find the change in something. So hopefully that made a little bit more sense. This is how my brain likes to like it. So hopefully y'all do too. Thank you for watching this quick video. It was just something I wanted to do before I go to the gym. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.